Van Slyke Castle. Chapter 1. The Mountain Before the Castle. Long before stone walls pierced the skyline, the ridge overlooking the forests of northern New Jersey belonged only to the wind. The Ramapo Mountains stretched across the horizon, their rocky peaks cloaked in chestnut, oak, and pine. Streams carved through narrow valleys while deer wandered the hillsides. During autumn, the forests erupted into brilliant shades of crimson and gold. In winter, snow buried every trail beneath a silent blanket. Native peoples had traveled these mountains for centuries, hunting game and following seasonal paths through the valleys. By the late 1800s, however, industry had begun creeping north from nearby towns. Railroads climbed the valleys. Roads connected isolated communities. Quarries opened. The mountain was no longer untouched. Yet one rocky summit remained unusually quiet. Locals called it simply Fox Hill. Few imagined that one day it would hold what looked like a European castle. Chapter 2. A Man with Ambition. At the turn of the 20th century, William Porter was becoming a successful businessman in New Jersey. Unlike the wealthy industrial tycoons building massive estates along the Hudson River, Porter preferred something quieter. He wanted solitude. A retreat. Somewhere above the cities where only birds and the wind interrupted the silence. After visiting the Ramapo Mountains, he found exactly what he was searching for. Standing atop Fox Hill, he could see forests stretching for miles. To the east were growing towns. To the west lay endless wilderness. He purchased the land and hired workers to begin transforming the mountain. Not into a mansion. Into something unforgettable. Chapter 3. Building a Castle in New Jersey. Construction began around 1910. The project puzzled nearby residents. Why build a castle in the middle of the mountains? Teams of masons hauled local stone uphill. Each block weighed hundreds of pounds. Without modern cranes, everything depended on horses, wagons, and manpower. The castle slowly emerged from the mountainside. Unlike medieval castles built for war, this one blended luxury with romantic architecture. Tall stone towers rose above the forest. Massive fireplaces warmed elegant rooms. Large windows framed sweeping views of northern New Jersey. Wood-paneled halls echoed with footsteps. A grand staircase connected multiple levels. Outside, carefully designed gardens surrounded the home. Stone terraces overlooked the valleys below. Walking paths wound through carefully planted trees. Guests often remarked that the estate felt as though someone had transported a piece of Europe into America. Chapter 4. Life on the Mountain. The castle became a place of quiet luxury. Every morning sunlight spilled through the eastern windows. Servants prepared breakfast while smoke curled from the chimneys. Porter often spent hours reading on the terrace overlooking the valleys. Guests arrived in elegant automobiles. They climbed the winding dirt road toward the estate, amazed as the castle appeared between the trees. Evenings were filled with conversation. Music drifted from the sitting rooms. The dining hall hosted elaborate meals beneath candlelight. Outside, however, nature remained dominant. Coyotes howled in the distance. Owls hunted silently among the trees. Fog rolled through the valleys like waves across an ocean. The mountain constantly reminded everyone that the castle was merely a visitor. Chapter 5. Changing Hands. Years passed. The castle eventually left William Porter's ownership. It was purchased by Joseph, a man whose name would forever become attached to the estate. Van Slyke had made his fortune through bootlegging during the era of Prohibition. While alcohol was illegal across the United States, demand had hardly disappeared. Smugglers transported liquor through hidden routes, warehouses, and isolated roads. The Ramapo Mountains offered countless places where outsiders rarely ventured. To Van Slyke, the mountain retreat represented both prestige and privacy. Soon, locals stopped calling it Porter's Estate. Instead, they simply referred to it as Van Slyke Castle. Chapter 6: Rumors in the Woods. Stories spread quickly. Some claimed expensive cars climbed the mountain late at night. Others believed secret meetings took place inside. A few insisted hidden rooms existed beneath the castle. No one could ever prove the rumors. Deliveries arrived regularly. Visitors came and went. Yet much of life inside remained private. The isolation only fueled speculation. Mountain fog concealed arriving vehicles. Dense forests muffled distant voices. Every unanswered question became another legend. Chapter 7: The Fire. Disaster struck unexpectedly. One evening, smoke rose above the trees. Flames spread through portions of the castle. Residents from nearby communities watched the orange glow reflecting against the clouds. Firefighters faced enormous challenges. The steep mountain road slowed their progress. Water sources were limited. Strong winds pushed flames through wooden interiors. By sunrise, large sections of the building had been destroyed. Although portions of the stone structure survived, the elegant interior had suffered catastrophic damage. The castle never fully recovered. Chapter 8: Nature Takes Control. Without constant maintenance, the mountain reclaimed what humans had built. Rain seeped into cracked walls. Winters froze expanding water inside the stone. Roots slowly pushed beneath foundations. Vines climbed the remaining towers. Birds nested inside broken windows. Foxes wandered abandoned hallways. Every season altered the castle a little more. Nature required no schedule. Only patience. Chapter 9: The Explorers. Decades later, hikers rediscovered the ruins. Photographers climbed the trails at sunrise. History enthusiasts searched old newspaper archives. Urban explorers documented every remaining wall. Each visitor noticed different details. Some admired the architecture. Others imagined lavish parties. Many simply stood quietly, looking across the valleys just as Porter had over a century earlier. Graffiti appeared. Weather continued its work. Yet the castle still possessed an undeniable presence. Even in ruin, it commanded the mountain. Chapter 10: Legends Grow. As with many abandoned places, myths multiplied. Hidden tunnels. Buried treasure. Ghostly figures watching from broken windows. Secret bootlegging passages. Most lacked historical evidence. But legends often survive because they capture imagination, not because they can be proven. The real story was already compelling enough. A wealthy businessman. A mountain estate. A bootlegger owner. A devastating fire. Decades of abandonment. Reality had quietly become folklore. Chapter 11: The Forest Watchers. Every year the forest changed around the ruins. Spring brought moss over forgotten staircases. Summer concealed the castle behind thick green leaves. Autumn revealed stone walls glowing beneath brilliant orange maples. Winter stripped everything bare. Snow collected atop broken chimneys. Icicles hung from shattered windows. The mountain had become a living calendar. The castle simply endured each passing season. Chapter 12: Echoes of the Past. Imagine standing inside the ruins just before sunset. The wind passes through empty windows where stained glass may once have shimmered. A raven lands atop the highest surviving wall. Below, cars travel modern highways almost silently. More than a century separates today's visitors from those first construction workers. Yet the same mountain remains. The same wind. The same breathtaking view. Stone remembers in ways people often cannot. Chapter 13: Preservation and Respect. Today, Van Slyke Castle is a popular destination for hikers, photographers, and local history enthusiasts. The ruins are part of the surrounding parkland, and visitors are encouraged to stay on marked trails, respect closures, and leave the site as they found it. Although much of the castle has been lost to time, preservation efforts and public interest have helped keep its story alive. Every photograph, historical article, and respectful visit contributes to preserving the memory of the estate. Chapter 14, The Castle's Legacy. Van Slyke Castle was never a medieval fortress, nor was it the setting of the wild legends that often surround it. Instead, its legacy lies in something quieter. It tells the story of ambition and changing fortunes. It reflects the optimism of the early 20th century, the intrigue of the Prohibition era, the destructive power of fire, and the steady persistence of nature. Today, the remaining stone walls stand as one of New Jersey's most recognizable historic ruins. They invite visitors to imagine what once stood there while reminding them that even the grandest buildings are temporary. As the sun sets over the Ramapo Mountains and shadows stretch across the weathered stones, the castle seems to belong equally to history and to the forest. It no longer echoes with the conversations of wealthy guests or the footsteps of its owners. Instead, it speaks through silence, offering a glimpse into a remarkable chapter of New Jersey's past that continues to inspire curiosity more than a century after its construction.